the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction live search with me. And following the introduction that was abrupted, I would just like to wrap up the story of the introduction and continue to the search itself. And I'm going to take a look at Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions. I'm going to take a look at the chart of April 2024, where we're going to have this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. And then I'm going to look at where did we have it in the past and try to come up and see what can we make of it, and I'm going to do it live. So stay with me. And this is AI generated. Gave me this picture. So I really like them for my video. Hopefully that will be a clickbait. But there's beyond the clickbait in this. So right now we're looking at the Jupiter. Oh, just to wrap up what I was saying in the introduction, technology that develops, it can give approval to certain that we have about either the nature of mankind or being successful in scientific discovery or philosophy that is more expansive, that is more generous. If it's aspected, it can be other types of philosophy if it is harshly aspected, but I think but well aspected, we should expect tremendous optimism, and the type of optimism that you need to get on a journey to the great vast, because that's what Jupiter rules. Technology that you need to back that optimism with. So now, this is the chart of Jupiter conjunct Uranus in April. It is the exact. Okay, so the exact is April 21, 2024. This is 2:26. It is, yeah. Well, it is. You're gonna have to adjust it to your location. So this is where you can do that. And I use the aspect search to search for this particular chart. So we have Jupiter conjunct Taurus. And degree Taurus. Of Stellium in Aries here. So Chiron is still in 20 degrees. So how is it aspected? It is sextiling Mars, and it's not in the tight orb, but it begins to fall into the sextile with Neptune, and I talk about the triangle of the millennia between Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto on another video. And that is an aspect that's very unique to our times, like not even 1,000 years before this time. But that happens in 2026. So we are to Mars at the time of the conjunction. Mars is direct in Pisces. We do have, well, in the exact moment of conjunction, we have a separating trine from the moon, and we do have an aspect to Lilith here that for some reason is not mentioned. Trine Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. So all in all, it's well aspected. It is a big event. It's something that we should be waiting for. It is in the last decan of Taurus, and that is a, well, I believe that that's already a Mars ruled decan of Taurus, and so we have a sextile to the ruler of the the face, basically. Although Mars in Pisces, walking in water. So walking in water is great for bone density, but it does slow you down. Um, so I can't say that Mars is in the best of aspects, but still, it's something that can give us optimism around technological advancements, a philosophy of the body backed up by technology. Okay. And when I say philosophy of the body, okay, the uh, positivity about our ability to change our body for the sake of health and for the sake of beauty. Okay, because it is ruled by Venus. The Taurus is ruled by Venus, and this conjunction happens in a Venus ruled sign. Um, it can give positivity around a new technology to do with fiscal system. So that can be. And because it's Uranus, I would expect decentralized technology, because Uranus is more related to the decentralized aspect of Aquarius. It's not so much controlling the masses in as much as it is a decentralized that allows technological advancement, and it does allow for an outreach, um, but it also allows for rebellion. Okay, and you can refer to a wonderful Dan Waits video that he did in his YouTube channel. I think it was the world's wait, Dan Waits. Okay, you can refer to Dan Waits on his video about the age of air that was inspired also by a discussion that on the astrology podcast, and the notion, I believe it was Austin Kopek that talked about starting to pay attention to what's happening in the context of Pluto in Aquarius. So I really just love the title for Adam Ellenbaugh's video on Pluto and Aquarius. I think it was that one, when the underworld is above. Okay, when the underworld is is basically in the sky, in the air. Um, so very interesting times. And I in my introduction I said Uranus is also related to Kundalini awakening. Jupiter is related to fertilization, insemination. So technology is also around agriculture. It's the nature of the planets. I mean, I know you expected me to say something else, but agriculture, inseminating the land, right? Um, it can be, some technologies. I know that there are some technologies that allow you to feel how the other partner feels during sex or during menstruation, and this kind of those applications. So we can see more of that in terms of toys that are meant for pleasure, and that allow us to experience a sensory pleasure based on the nervous system that simulates the experience of the other. And so we can learn a lot about each other and get a connection. So this, from a Jupiter perspective, is a philosophy that we um, learn more about each other, that we can have the spiritual enlightenment. If you're born in this set of sexual organs, you can have the spiritual enlightenment, both of the that is related to your body, to the structure of your body or sexual organs, but also to the structure of other sexual organs, and that of course supports Uranus. Uranus is the bigger octave, the wider octave of Mercury, and technology, nervous system, adapt, like unpredictability. With Mercury, it's adaptability. With Uranus, you need to adapt to Uranus. Like it is adaptive, but it is adaptive to the cosmos, and then you need to adapt to it. So very much I can think, I've been on the look for like queer theories of body mind and um, uh, uh, I think here we are going to have a bit of the relation between um, sensual pleasure, philosophy, Kundalini rise, right? What we call Kundalini rise, and gender non-conforming. I think gender non-conforming is the big Uranus play here, um, and that can affect our relations, international relations, decentralization of the monopoly over a certain sensual experience. So, for example, you will be able to have the technology to experience all kinds of sensual experience, sometimes perhaps independent of a partner, but also it can allow you to feel, um, to sense, like really to really sense the sensations of other people, hopefully consensually. Um, and that can create a tremendous philosophy, a tremendous connection. For example, now we know that Mars and Venus have been having, transformative times, interesting times, with the with the eclipses on the Taurus, Scorpio, and then on the Libra, Aries, and so that bit of Jupiter, Uranus, and I referred to that when I talked about the eclipses of 2023. At the end of the video there, I begin to talk about how we cannot rely on Mars and we cannot rely on Venus and everything that they represent, because they're undergoing a change. But what we will have is actually the eurekas we get from Jupiter and Uranus. And this is an inception of a new cognition. Okay, an inception of a new cognition. Why do I say cognition? Because it's not just consciousness. It is already into the technology, and our physique is also technological. Okay, it's something that operates within the world. Definitely views about the man and the machine on the physical level. Okay, what a robot can do physically, what a person can do, and it's also about labor. So philosophy of labor, but this will be optimistic. Okay, if any industrial revolution, and we are on the verge of another one, especially with Pluto entering into Aquarius, another outer planet activated in Aquarius for 20 years. We're going to make all kinds of funny aspects, and I talked about the grand triangle of the outer planets, not grand triangle. And it's grand because it's the outer planets, and it's once in I don't know how long, like over 1,000 years. So, um, so we have an inception moment of the philosophies that are going to accompany um, the technological physical body that is both our own. Okay, we have the ability to print limbs, and we have the ability to regenerate the nervous system, and to regenerate the nervous system so much so that people who could not move due to damage to the nervous system can begin to move again. Okay, now immediately you join that sense of optimism to Jupiter. It's like eternal life, eternity. We are touching eternity. And these are already technologies that exist. Okay, it's nothing. Um, it's not something that will happen. Something that has happened. And those are also good news. It is also good news that a person can have their limbs back or print a limb, and think about people who deal with phantom pain and our ability to interfere positively with the nervous system in a way that they won't feel phantom pain. Unfortunately, the promises of regulating the chronic depression with the chips that are regulate neural activity have not been and I just have hands-on experience from discussion group of people recovering from that, but unfortunately that is not something that is realized just yet. We do have the ability to regulate the heartbeat thanks to technologies that were related with nonlinear system and the study of nonlinear system. I talked about chaos theory in a previous video. So there's a lot going on. And because of those new technological advancements, there can also be another philosophy that adapts, that shows also the positive side. We get all kinds of thinkers scaring us from the negative implications of AI. But we also need to hear about the good things. Okay, the people that could not walk can suddenly walk. It's not something terrible. Okay, people that did not feel certain parts of the body suddenly feel. People that can feel how the other person experiences both their contractions, okay, literally their contractions if it's menstrual cycle, or their orgasms. This contraction and expansion, it's a bit of explosion. That's very much Uranus. Is something that is also a positive, positive change that is happening and allows people to sense each other more. So it allows also for more connection. And when we have such a conjunction that is fairly aspected, is not interrupted in any way by by Saturn or by Pluto or hard aspects, and then we can be fairly optimistic that there is a lot of potential for good to come from that. I would say that a lot of people say, well, look at what happened in the crypto, and we lost the decentralization dream. Come on, Pluto is still in Capricorn. We haven't even began the decentralization dream. Okay, now we had a Saturn in 1-2 years of Saturn in Aquarius. But what can we say about this one? Have we seen such revolts of the people in favor of their human rights? This is very, the past years have been very historical. The power of the people, and then you have the technology to back it up. Now you say, okay, you also have the technology for the regime to try to control you. Yes, but then there are those hackers and there are those hackers. I'm not saying it's all, it's not a bed of roses. And those bits of blissful, blissful explosions can remind us that an explosion is not, just terror or death or suicide or control or revolution. It's also an orgasm. And that's the wisdom of the Taurus, the sensual planet. It is also fiscal. It is also land. So now we're just up until now we've just been looking at one chart. That is an interesting chart. It happens when the nodes are already in the Aries Libra. We do have to understand there's a bit of a complexity. The ruler of this conjunction is although in Aries, she's in Aries here, is the ruler of Ketu. Okay, so in this cycle of eclipses, we have a bit of a complexity there. Again, Mars and Venus are going through transformation, so we can't really rely on them to make a strategy. but we have Uranus Jupiter. Remember that half of the time Jupiter is still in Pisces at the time of this recording. An entire year for the time that Saturn has been in Aquarius, though Saturn is at home in Aquarius, but social distancing, controlling attempts to control the masses, but also tremendous revolts by the masses, and the Saturn Uranus square, and everything to do with that. We also had Jupiter in Pisces. Okay, we also side by side with those quite challenging and depressive times, we also had a very lofty, very optimistic, very expansive transit of Jupiter going through Pisces. And Jupiter is still in Pisces. So I think of the Jupiter Uranus, and I might have that prediction for other times in history that it happened, as that positive anchor point. Yeah, there is technology and surveillance and this and control and but there is also the ability to print your food and to print the organs and to um, uh, decentralize the control over land and and all that. So I chose the pictures here from an AI generator that is accessible to me. It's free, okay, and I can just type in and get a picture that is AI generated that I can use for my videos, so I can have in between the time where this is an established podcast and you have Patreons or Patriots or whatever, and the times where I'm just a person recovering to keep themselves healthy and happy, and hopefully be able to make a living out of it, then all that is available. And this is a point where there is a lot going for humanity in terms of both the sense of faith and the technology accompanying that. It can also be a time where the flux of people who are, for example, LGBTQ, who are non-conforming and also neurodivergent because of Uranus, okay? Neurodivergent people um, can have uh, at least certain bubbles, decentralized bubbles, where they get a lot of support, where they meet each other perhaps. So I like the notions of birds and the Kappa notion of like looking at birds and how do birds behave. They travel in flocks, but then they have the freedom, and so they're protected in the air, and kind of looking at birds. Something that I deeply relate to with my soul, as I had to travel, and the birds for me were the planes, and I saw birds in the airport, and like and only now I heard about this saying, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so true. This is so true. Um, and so following the nature and the technology of nature, think about the airplanes. It's just like it's a technological homage to a bird, basically. And we might want to follow the sky, but also follow the cosmos. How do birds travel? You think about it on a bigger scope. How do planets travel? I have to admit that I actually experienced that. I actually experienced that last year, and I began to think about like the circle and the way that you run in the circles, and yeah, it was like, wow, this is something quite fascinating. And yeah, like I have a lot of downloads from there. So yeah, that's very, very fascinating. So let's look at other charts. Come on. So this is 2024. Let's go to January 4, 2011. Hmm. So think about your moment when you had in 2011. What was your moment? There we had it in 27th degree of Uranus. Again, with Lilith being not too far from that. It's interesting. That one was harsh aspect in Mercury. But it was kind of Mercury, yeah, Mercury was applying to square this transit. And Venus was trining it. Venus was trining it from Scorpio. So that is interesting for January 2011. So let's just try and research what happened in the world in January 4, 2011. Okay. So it was a solar eclipse. Whoa! Partial solar eclipse. Okay, so this was a very interesting date. Not only did we have this conjunction was also on a solar eclipse. So we want to take a look at this. Okay, so we had partial eclipse of the sun. Well, it that means that we're gonna have to take a look at this one longer. Okay. So the fourth day of the year 2000 was a Tuesday, so it was ruled by Mars. Okay, so let's take a look at this chart again, because now I have another aspect. The sun was in Capricorn, and Mars was in Capricorn as well. Ketu was in Capricorn. Rahu was in Cancer. No, the opposite. Rahu was in Capricorn. No, wait. Yeah, Rahu was in Capricorn. So Rahu was in Capricorn. Already Pluto in Capricorn. So we have Saturn as the ruler of this eclipse in Libra. Hard aspect in this eclipse. But of course, that is something that we will see. You know, the shade of eclipse is a couple of months even. Let's see what happened. What happened on the news? On January 2011. Okay, it's probably not going to be exact, but okay, let's see. Story. So, Ohio beats Arkansas. Okay. Deaths of people. So we had a soccer player, cerebral infraction. Okay, he dies from a brain-related disease. Again, Uranus can also be death. I'm not sure about his chart, but then that also happens. Okay, the loss of someone. It's also happened around an eclipse, so the loss of a person due to nervous system related disease, or the brain related disease. Vocalist and musicians. Yeah, that's nice. Generation Z. Bruno Mars had the #1 song. That is not very helpful. Thank you. What about all the Wikipedia or something? Come on. So, Pink Floyd signed a new 5-year record deal with EMI, winning a lawsuit regarding digital distribution of music. Okay, so he got his rights back. Interesting. Value-added tax in the United Kingdom is increased to its highest ever rate. Again, this, we seem to trying to, but Venus was, and sudden round, it was still the implications of the 2008 crisis. Russia begins, but all of that is in the background, like it's not necessarily that. Oh, okay. Russia begins an operation to free 500 people stranded in ships. Something like this screams out something related to that conjunction. Why? This conjunction happened in 27th degree of Pisces. Okay, degree of Pisces. Not degree, sorry, the Mars degree of Pisces. So we have a big event. Stranded in ships, surrounded by extreme weather. There's something I had to tell. Extreme weather. Ships at sea. Okay, ship is a Jupiter-Uranus technology. Why? A ship travel the seas. Okay, so it allows Jupiterian thing in praxis. It's the man to travel across the seas, which back in the days was as big as, landing on the moon. So people were stranded, and they were rescued by Russia. Or they began an operation to free these people. So the Uranus can also bring us certain natural disasters, but you see, there's somebody coming to the. Somebody is at least trying to help these people. Okay, they were not left in the cold, and Jupiter is again, it's that faith, belief in belief that we can overcome this. Okay, so Uranus is going through Pisces right now. Doesn't mean that we don't have to travel. Okay, that's another thing that Uranus, Jupiter can bring. It can be a fault. Okay, so we have extreme weather. Are we gonna travel? No. Let's develop technology a bit farther. The process of developing technology, we do have some disease. Evacuations in Queensland, Australia, due to flood waters. Now, these two things are the joint of the conjunction, but also the eclipse. Okay, the eclipse is in Capricorn, so we would expect, Capricorn is Cancer axis stretched, but with Uranus, expect natural disasters, tsunamis. Do you remember the tsunami? Uranus in Pisces gave a spark of optimism, but because it happens on an eclipse, then that nature says that's a good time for natural disasters to occur. Um, so so the damages from this natural disaster could amount to hundreds of millions of dollars. And so we have a fiscal implication. Okay, the eclipse is in Capricorn. Capricorn, the the ability of the regime, of the hierarchy, of the monopoly over the violence to provide. And then we have a natural disaster kind of. Can you provide for this, Australia? Can your banking system withstand recovering from this natural disaster? But Jupiter can give the optimism that yes, we can. Okay, Salman Taseer, governor of Pakistani province, is assassinated. Assassination, okay. I don't know the chart of this assassination. It would be interesting to study it on a mundane level. It's the Mars phase of Pisces, and Mars is killing, and Uranus is explosion. I don't know how was he assassinated. Pardon me, I mind my sanity, so I'm not going to look too deep at that. But you can research it easily. So he was assassinated by security guards at the market in Islamabad. And that's given to us by the CNN and BBC. So, yes, terror is also a factor here. I think it is to do with the eclipse in Capricorn, because Capricorn is the people in the rulership. We have a betrayal here, so we have a traitor, probably something to do with Neptune. I would not directly associate that to the Great Conjunction. It doesn't mean that the conjunction cannot have a role in that. But, like, I don't know. Okay. Texan Cornelius Dupree freed from parole in July 2010, but that's not the date. July 2010. Conviction squashed after he was found to be innocent through DNA evidence. Okay, this one screams Jupiter Uranus. Now, Jupiter Uranus in Pisces, and again, you won't get that with the Jupiter rulership of Pisces alone. Pisces is also ruled by Neptune. Neptune is confusion. Neptune is that which is in the hands of fate. Neptune can relate to identity loss, loss in general. Okay, just Jupiter, Uranus, and Pisces won't give you that. But Uranus is liberation, and the man was liberated. Eureka! He was found innocent. To me, that screams the conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter. Okay, in technology allowed, okay, DNA tests allowed people to see that the person is not guilty. That's big. And that's, you remember what I began to speak about in the introduction, and then began this episode with wrapping up. New technology or technological advancement can instill faith in humanity. Then you also have to use them, right? But also but the very it can also instill a faith in science. Okay, science is our friend. Okay, science is not just the regulation. Science is also allowing justice to be exposed. Again, the Mars phase of Pisces, and Mars is related to fighting over justice, being right. Jupiter is the good instinct, is the good faith, okay, the philosophy. Uranus is liberated not only from jail, but is also proven innocent. It's a it's a deeper sense of liberation. It's not just that somebody, leave him because he served the time. He's liberated from accusation by technological means. So a lot of people have reason to believe, very good reason to believe, that he's innocent. That's a of the name of a person with the assistance of technology. Big moment, big positive moment amidst the tsunamis and eclipses and what positive moment. And notice that this happened here on an eclipse, so we do see that it is it's a point of optimism, quite a lot of chaos. Now let's go to the next chart. And you can continue on with every of these days. There's a ton of data, but I just want to have a chance to look at as much charts as I can here, and to see patterns evolving. So we see that there was another one in September 19 to 10 and June 19, 2010. So we see that 3 times in 2010. Okay, it's not that much of a rare conjunction. I'm going to do a separate video about when was the last time that happened in Taurus. I'm so very tempted to open another window and do that with, what you say? Let's do it. I'm too curious. I'm sorry. Aspect, does it in Taurus? I'm just too curious. No, this is tropical, so it doesn't tell me anything. I'm looking for the sign. I'm looking for the sign. Come on. Oh, it doesn't let me do that. Okay, so we're just gonna observe. Let's just go backwards. And then we have this happening in Taurus again in May 8th, 1941. Ouch! So, look at this. It's in the 25th degree of Gemini. And I see it. Wait. No, it's not Gemini, it's Taurus because of the. And I see it hard aspecting Mars in Aquarius. So squaring Mars in Aquarius is conjunct in Venus and to some degree Mercury and Saturn as well. So we have Saturn not in a tight orb with this conjunction, but Saturn is in Taurus and it is in orb. And we have a trine to Neptune and oh gosh, Rauketo and the nodes. But it does matter which node. Sun in Taurus, Moon in Libra. Yeah. So we have a trine to Neptune, but a non-tight confinement from Sun and a square to Mars. Now we know the Jupiter-Mars squares are religious wars. And unfortunately, ideology and theosophy are backed by technology here. So here we have a moment that, that is not so finely aspected. The trine with Neptune, oh gosh, let's just look at just this. So we had May 8th, 1941. Okay. So Uh-huh. It is that. British heavy cruiser. Kriegsmarine. Okay. So in the Indian Ocean off the Seychelles archipelago north of Madagascar. So we had an explosion of a ship next to the shores of Madagascar and Seychelles in the Indian Ocean. It, you know, that's another point of view of the trine to Neptune. And then we had, this expressed itself as an ship. Interestingly enough, okay, where was Mars there? Mars was in Aquarius. British sailor was killed. 200 of the 222 British and Indian merchants prisoners captures from over 30 merchant vessels were also killed. So this one did not end up well. Again, we need to see the aspects. In itself, it can be something very beautiful. But here, harshly aspected by Mars, not so. So the explosion part is more like the Uranus play. I believe that the Neptune causes that to be at sea. So the trine to Neptune in this particular event was not helpful. Yeah, surely other things happened in May 8, 1941. Let's just... Okay, we had the Blitz. Okay, let's just look at May 1941. I think it's important enough to go over the entire month. And so beginning May 4. Yes, of course, that's what matters. Oh, that's not helpful. Not helpful. Not helpful. May 1941. Okay, let's look at the Blitz. It's 2 days after, but again, it's within the scope of the conjunction, of course. The hardest nights was 10th and 11th of May. The most devastating raid on London took place at the night of the 10th and the 11th. Mars would still be where it's at. Neptune would still be where it's at. Saturn would move, still be, maybe move a bit, half a degree or something. Even not that. Moon was full, so this happened all at full moon. The Thames had a very low ebb tide. I don't know if it was an eclipse or not. But then this was just tons of high explosive bombs. 167 were unexploded the next day. What? So okay. At least 500 tons of bombs. Okay. Another aspect of this conjunction. London fire. Many deaths. The fire resulted in 700 acres of destruction. About double that of the Great Fire of London. And here we have a situation where we have the conjunction of an outer planet and, Jupiter here in this case, squaring Mars, so we know something's going to explode. We know it's a Uranus-related explosion. We know it's going to be big. The conjunction of Saturn gives it another, it's durable. And the trine to Neptune just make it vaster. Okay, so here we have a trine that just makes things bigger. So we know that on a spiritual level, that got the British not liking the Germans, and that had implications over the Security Councils in the years to come. But in itself, we cannot say that this event was in any way optimistic. Okay, explosion, massive deaths, um, and happening just a degree away from Algol. Okay, this was, if I'm not mistaken, let's look at the chart. Yes, just a degree away, or maybe even on, depending on where Algol was at that time. She moves a bit of a degree here and there. But we can see Algol here as well. Okay, so we had one chart that was on an eclipse, chart that is not too far from Algol, and on the full moon. I don't know if it was eclipse or not, but I'm not going to do that all that thoroughly. We just get to see this pattern here that naturally, when it's well aspected, will bring us good results. When it's not well aspected, it would bring us these results, which are obviously fated. Like we did need Britain to dislike Germany a lot. We did need Britain to be ready to drop that amount of bombs on Germany. But obviously that, like, we would prefer those events to not happen. So then we have, okay, the 1928. It's not in Taurus, but it's like I don't think we cannot look at it. This happens in 0° Aries, harshly aspected by the nodes and by Venus. And that's that. And this happens in the first phase of Aries, so I call it the Mars, and the Mars is obviously going to be explosive here with Mars. Although Mars is exalted in Capricorn, so it can be something strategic, but again, it looks like not a happy day. Let's look at January 25th, 1928. I just said I don't think we cannot look at it, right? January 25th, 1928. No, 1928. 28. 28. Yes. Okay. That is not birthday of, okay, January. So this is 13 General Electric Company and NBC make first television broadcast. Again, this is absolutely, Jupiter Uranus. And it can be, I don't know how were the lunations, because television is something that we see, and there we had it in first degree. Would they be in the first degree of Aries? In the 0° of Aries just yet? Jupiter not, but Jupiter was approaching from Pisces. So this is an interesting one. This January 12th, January 27th, Los Angeles became the first dirigible to make a landing on a ship, touching down on the aircraft carrier Sagota. So this is, okay, so we have this beautiful weird craft landing on a ship We understand how this technology will be used in the future, but it's an important technological advancement related to war. I mean, come on, what did we expect? Aries. So yes, those were important things that happened there. Okay, let's go back to do Taurus charts. So I'm going to skip over all of that until I get to the next Taurus one, and the next Taurus one is in 1858, May 23. May 23, 29th degree of Taurus. Again, last decan of Taurus. It doesn't make any particular aspect, but Mars is separating from an opposition to this conjunction. So of course we are very likely to see this one is not likely to go happy, because Mars opposition Jupiter, religious wars, ideological wars, backed up by technology. So I don't expect that one to go well. We had an interesting trine there between a retrograde Mars in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces at home, and Saturn in Pisces. So Mars was just leaving that trine, and Saturn in Cancer. So water trine that is, you know, it's a successful malicious operation. That is what I expect to see here. So let's look at 23rd May 1858. Sorry, I'm European. May 23, 1858. May 1858 in the United Kingdom. Let's see that. Incumbents. Victoria was the monarch. Had the prime minister. 17th parliament. This is January. Let's go to May. Court for divorce and matrimonial causes. Oh, Uranus also rules divorce, by the way. And so we had an establishment of the ability to divorce. Following into effect of the Matrimonial Causes Act, making civil divorce without parliamentary approval legally possible. So we see that is good news, right? Venus is relationship, so we have this in Taurus. Venus is relationship. This is the last phase of Venus, Taurus, which is ruled by Saturn, I believe already. I believe it is Saturn. No, but Algol is of the nature, but Algol is on the term of Saturn. So we would have that conjunction probably on the term of Saturn. I don't remember the degree. Because Saturn is ending things, so ending relationships and also legislation. And so we have, but where's the Uranus? Yeah, Uranus is divorce, yes. So it's a Uranus, so basically Uranus, Jupiter, so optimistic news, you can divorce without too much regulation. Uranus going through Saturn term, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take a look at this chart again. Yeah, 29 degrees, absolutely Saturn term. So divorces, okay, removal of the regulation on marriage. It's possible to divorce. So marriage can be more liberated, okay, more around communion or sharing, okay, sharing values, and less about, you know, long withstanding commitment that have outdone its cause. So this is lovely. Did not expect this. And that happens in throughout. Yeah, that's Britain. But let's look at what happened in May 1958. Oh, I think this one is this May 4. War of Reform in Mexico again. Liberals established capital at Veracruz. I would need to look deeper into that. Of course, Jupiter is doing something here, but I don't know if it is already Jupiter. Not Jupiter. Uranus. I don't know if it is already Jupiter Uranus. May 22nd, Confederation Garandina forms. So formation around the time we have a formation of a new national identity. Probably it was liberated from Colombia. It was probably liberated from the, like everyone from the British, right? Safe to assume. So it can be an establishment of a new identity around land. So yeah, it can be a new country. If that country is somehow related to this chart, but we would need to take a deeper look. Okay, we have here. But what May was it? May 23rd. So we have May 21. President of Uruguay is born. So the person who will be the president of Uruguay is born. Okay. Dutch political cartoonist is born in Amsterdam. Political cartoonist, interesting. So satire. Satire is always also Uranus related because it's revolutionary. Okay, political cartoon. So it's a use of the arts for political reasons, of course having to do with ideology and probably also philosophy. Amsterdam. Born in Amsterdam. But this happens in the 1940s. No, so this is not, it's just the dates. No, that's useless right now, because I'm looking for 1 year and then they give me other years. Pardon my Dutch. Anything happening there? Come on, internet, do your thing. Okay. 222 days remaining until the end of the year. Wednesday? Dimanche. Yeah. Don't remember. Oh, it was Sunday. It's called Dimanche. I forgot my French. Person born on this day would be 164 years old today. If that person said, oh, this is nice, that saved $1 a day, starting at age of 3, they would have $58,994. This 18, what? I don't know how is. Okay, that's not useful. What happened on May 23? What happened on May 23? I don't see anything here. Moon phase. Oh, moon phase on May 23, 18. But we know that we've seen the chart. It's growing moon. At least something gives me accurate data. Okay. Not much. Not much. Can we have another one? 1958. Another one is... What? I missed something. No, I didn't miss anything. Because the previous one was in 1679. That is a long time in between these two. And that happens, oh, but this is in Aries, that's why. It's even longer, oh my gosh. Let's look at it. Where did it, we have so much time that it didn't happen in Taurus. What? I can't believe this. Why? It should be like, but Jupiter moves, every 12 years around the zodiac. Why did it not happen? We have this one. No. Let's look at the previous one. It's so weird because we do have all the data. How come they didn't conjunct? We're just not having Taurus here anymore. Oh, this one. 11-18-1. And then we have another one. Now I want to look at the pattern here. And another one that so we have plenty of them in year 1098. I don't even know how to. And then we wouldn't have until the 1800s. What? How come? Jupiter moves around the zodiac every 12 years. Oh, it makes sense. But this is interesting because we have this is a non-linear system. Okay, because Uranus takes so long to move, and Jupiter goes around the zodiac every 12 years. So it can be that in the years the Jupiter goes, it is only 1 year, Uranus is elsewhere, and by the time but it doesn't. Oh my god, this is so lovely. I love this pattern. Okay, so we see we have a couple of conjunctions every couple of years. That makes sense that it works, so sort of like more give or take every 12 years we should be having, not 12 years, but because Uranus is moving, but yeah, we should be having one. Jupiter is 12-year cycle, it should go around Uranus. How come it's not? Like, what on earth? I'm not sure what's happening. How is it mathematically possible? It's like we have this conjunction a couple of years, and then 1,000 years without this conjunction. Maybe we don't have data or something. It's like, is there something we can't computate there? Can you help me? Like, if you know anything about. I didn't miss anything. It was not like it was. And then we have it, and then we have it, and then, of course, we have it. But let's see even previous, because that's interesting. And then, hello. Again, we have it. We're supposed to have it every 12 years. So give or take, because Uranus is not moving that fast. Have it? Yeah, so, like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened here, because this one is going okay. Maybe there is something with the data here. This one is already beginning. Okay, here we have another period of several years that it's not happening. Oh, it could be that it skips Taurus, but there are other missing signs here. It could be that it skips Taurus for some reason. Yeah, because here we have another, from year 7 until year um, let me make sure I don't miss anything. The next one until year ooh, until year 1601. That's the beauty of a nonlinear pattern. Okay, from year 7 that we didn't have these conjunctions, like that's the data that we have here covered from the beginning of the Gregorian calendar, which is more that we could hope for to have for free. So thank you, Peter, for this beautiful assembly of like amazing data. Um, Peter is the one who makes this site. So we have like the first dated conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus is 1601. And then we have it happening sort of a kind of probably every 12 years. And then there's another time for a couple hundred years that we don't have that, up until 1881. So we have regular cycle, regular cycle, regular. Now that can be because Jupiter moves around the zodiac every 12 years, and then Uranus is irregular, but it spends around every 7 years in every cycle. And then it can be that the conjunction was just like on Aries or on Gemini, and then it missed Taurus. So we got on the pattern, right? This beautiful pattern when Taurus is forgotten about. And but that's mathematical. Now think political. Okay, it tells me that Uranus and Jupiter um, coincide with the theological, technological advancement that comes around every couple of centuries, stays around, and then we won't see it until a couple of centuries later. So it should coincide with some historical, revolutions, upheaval, religious changes. But it also tells me that we can divide the time and see a non-linear pattern here of the evolution of history. Those are the kind of things I was looking when I was doing politics and governance. That's why I do it with astrology. That's how we should do it. That's how we should do it. It is like, anyway. So we see it's not just a cycle. Cycle is like, okay, Uranus return, Uranus, the synodic cycles are fascinating, but it's those interactions where we have this non-linear pattern that we add another voice to history, and then we can try to predict, and we can predict because this is astrology. We can predict when will be the next time we'll see Jupiter and Uranus. We have the mathematics to do that, and we understand that it would like probably I've only seen 2 cycles of this basically. Okay, there's 2 cycles. One cycle at around year 600, and then it goes for a couple of centuries, for 400 years. Okay, 400 years. We have that sort of like coming up, and then from year 1088, then 1088, around 1088 up until 1858, we don't have that. So this is too short of a segment for me to say anything about in terms of behavioral patterns, but it's definitely something that if you have any access to information beyond like the BCE era, um, then I like you and you want to join forces on this, then I'm very much willing to collaborate. So it's a shout out there, and that is something interesting, and we will need to go into the future. I am a bit tired right now to do that. I need a break. But yes, those are the time. That's amazing. So I would need like I would need to you would need to see history from a different point of view. Definitely, it would be technological advancement, religion, so on and so forth. But this is not 1 year. We talk about eras of 400 years, and then like we need to look into the future because we from 1858 2022, come on, we are still in the scope of something, and it happened during the 1900s, so it's like there's no meat in this. We are still in the 400 years something, and it's not like the ages like Aquarian age that was like a couple of thousand years, right? It's not like, is it? I don't know. So this is a sort of it's right now we have 400 years time with at least 600 years time of not having, and then we have 1200 years of no 400, that would be, and then we have, sorry, another kind of 800 years of not having this Uranus conjunction Jupiter, and then we have a beginning, and now we're in the midst of it. It could be 400 years, it could be less, it could be more. I like, okay, let's push myself a bit, and let's look into the future a bit. I want to give it like 3,000. I don't know. I don't know if it allows. Peter, I might have challenged you a bit. Yeah. So yeah. To okay. To since 500 BC to 28 BAD. Oh, so we have this one. It's lovely. This is so great. This is so great. It's like, wow. Yeah, I need to go somewhere. Okay, so this is okay. Now we're in 2024. Let's see the next Taurus. Oh, we don't have that. It's okay. It's okay. We don't have that because it's scope of 100 years. So we need more calculations. If you have access to delve deeper into the past and deeper into the future with this, then it could be extremely helpful. And we'll see like, hey, what's happening? What's happening? This is so cool. So yes, I'm I'm tired. I need a break. I need a drink. So I need a drink. I'm drinking water, but never mind. So that's about where it's at with the Jupiter Taurus. I think the Jupiter Taurus is interesting in itself. As for Jupiter Uranus conjunction that we have, every once in a while, like probably around 12 years, then in some signs, so it's a 12-year cycle that around these 12 years, we're supposed to have a conjunction with Uranus. And every 12 years, so technological advancement, it can be a point of optimism if it's well aspected, a point of you would need something like a solar eclipse, something additional to make it like extremely big in the event of the fate of the world, but it's big enough. So yeah, I'm so tired. So but when we look just at Taurus, And then we'll have to go for each sign and do that, because we'll probably have these patterns with more signs, and see what happens. If you want to delve deeper into it, then and collaborate, then you can turn to me. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. Oh, of course, subscribe to my channel. I have also 2 other channels. I'm too tired to promote myself. So subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.